Listening to the Past, An Evolution of Music by Maddie Wilke. Music has changed and evolved dramatically over a long period of time because artists encountered new technology which was always being explored to help them improve their music while also exchanging new ideas between each other, resulting in new genres and music pieces. There is so much to know about the technology and the evolution of music. We will start way back when music was first played. According to the website Enjoy Music, in 1600, music was first recorded and played. This music was mainly played by men, and many instruments were not developed or encountered yet. One instrument that was not developed yet was the trumpet. String instruments were very common. There was minimal voice in the music pieces as they were mainly instrumental and religious. Very little change came until the 1500s. The only changes that were happening were developments and the exploration of instruments and music pieces. In the 1500s, music became very popular to everyone. Of course, back then, music was very different than it is today. The technology now compared to then is astonishing. All of the music in the 1500s was all live, and you could not sell it to others because of the lack of technology. Orchestras were very popular, and many instruments were not introduced to the people of that era yet. Some of these instruments were trombones, flutes, clarinets, and much more common instruments that we have today. Interestingly, there is one very popular instrument that was encountered called the lute, which is a very small string instrument that is not as popular now as it was back then. Now we fast forward to the 1800s, where at the end of the century, jazz is dominating the music industry. Even though a lot of technology had been introduced since the 1500s and was still being explored, music pieces consisted mainly of instruments, and no technology like recording booths where you can change volume, add effects, or make remixes. Jazz consisted mainly of piano and trumpets. One very popular jazz band of this time period was the King Oliver's Creole Band. Louis Armstrong was the favorite of the band with his cornet, which is a new instrument that was encountered. Many people couldn't wait to hear them play. According to the website Jazz is Timeless, the band was based in Richmond, Indiana, and had over 13 top-selling songs. Overall, in this century, music was more upbeat and fun. The next century we enter is the 1900s. At the beginning, until around 1950, the music style is the same as the 1800s, but in the late 1900s, music was very loud and more fun. Many people, teens especially, loved rock and roll and pop music. Some famous artists were Michael Jackson, the Backstreet Boys, and much more. One of the most famous bands in history and helped evolve music greatly was the Beatles. They were an English band of four that formed in 1960. They had many hits and were on top for record-setting lengths. They helped evolve music and explored a new genre, some can say, because according to CBS, who did a story on the Beatles, rock and roll was not that big before the Beatles, but they changed that very quickly. Music in the 1900s was much like today, but we have newer technology because people were just exploring new technology like iPods, CDs, computers for making remixes, and updated recording booths. In the early 1900s, like the late 1800s, jazz is dominating the music industry, but that quickly changed in the late 1900s. This topic relates to this year's project theme in many ways. It relates to exploration because artists and producers were always looking and exploring to find technology for their music. All of these artists and producers really wanted to get ahead and gain more fans for themselves by making the music that they made astonishing and exploring new instruments and sounds. As music got more popular and artists gained more money, both producers and artists got more desperate to get ahead in the music world. This topic relates to Encounter because almost everyone, artists, fans, producers, etc., encountered many problems in some way. For the artists, many lost fans over time, or they had trouble coming up with good songs. For fans, they encountered many problems when their favorite artists or a band announced that they were going to break up or stop playing. This really hurt some people because they got really close to the artists and their music. Lastly, for producers, the problems they encountered were economic. What I mean by this is once technology like iPods, MP3 players, etc. came out, producers lost a lot of money. They lost money because when CDs were popular, they gained a lot of money off of them. But in the late 1900s, they did not get as much when someone bought their song off of iTunes or an MP3. New technology was encountered because people made new instruments by combining two others together. Also, as technology outside of the music world was more advanced, the recording studios used some of that technology in their recording booths. Lastly, this topic relates to exchange because many ideas and new findings of technology was exchanged between artists. New ideas like genres and recording booth advances. Many ideas were to help artists get ahead, but some artists did not like each other and were always trying to push each other down or outdo each other. Music has changed and evolved dramatically over a long period of time because artists encountered new technology, which was always being explored, to help them improve their music while also exchanging new ideas between each other, resulting in new genres and music pieces.